Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Let's continue. So we want to do this next quest and we're in the safe house, and yet inside the safe house here, even though we had just ended a high like GTA star high alert situation, it just started back up. There's literally just like 4 Krugersec cops down there waiting for me. You would think that these safe houses would do more for that, or that you could at the very least kind of hide in here and try to avoid them. And I guess maybe if you just get close enough, and that's another 731 XP that the game really just handed to me, and another X upgrade, which, I mean, I will take it. I will take it, and I will use it to increase my disruptor. And then going forward, we will just try to increase movement for the focus shield, and then start just increasing damage for the small chance that any of these damage increases ever get even used. The other option that was more than likely viable here would have been to just exit out of the game and then reload. More than likely that would have reset the status. While it was in high alert, pretty much every single one of these quest markers were disabled. There's not really even a ton of quests being displayed, which makes me almost wonder if I'm locked into some late game section now. But it may also just be that I had the feeling like there was more quests than there actually ever were. Problem, though, is I can do something like this. And now I can pull this down. This was an area where we clearly saw there was a way to jump down to this and reach here, and I looked all over the place trying to figure out a way to actually reach that, and it was just I did not have the ability that I needed. And it's quite a drop and quite a mag rope to get up there. I don't believe that this is a case where I've never been in this area before, but it might be that way. See, this would have been kind of a great point to have holographic signs if they were going to go that way, be a little bit more Blade Runner-esque with it. There's a lot of wasted energy for these like fake ads. I almost would assume that these ads are either used in some other EA game, or they were purchased for this game and they would show up in some other use of some other game. So I want to get all of these grid links still. The question though is, can I do that without getting that sound effect of scanning grid print? Because as soon as we start to hear that sound effect, that's the indication that there's a camera somewhere, and we just cannot be anywhere above ground practically. You can be in the construction area and that's it. Every other location has too many of these cameras, and if you stay near any of the cameras for any even small amount of time, you will... I'm supposed to do what here? You will get caught. I guess I was supposed to wall run, then turn it to a vertical wall climb, and then turn it to a 180 reverse. And then these curved sides, I don't think you can ever climb up a pipe if it is on the edge, which really indicates that it should be something else. It should either be a completely different colored pipe, or it should be, I don't know, a flagpole or something. Something that looks completely different and works completely differently. And then you get up to this point and you really have no idea where to go. Guess jump this way. Start with. We have an air vent. Again, something that maybe didn't need to be created. I would gladly get rid of the realism of there being an air vent in favor of there being another building that would let me wander around in a different path. Of course, that's not really apples to apples, but I'd gladly get rid of a lot of things for one more building. So I guess this is wall run, and then doing that again. That seems to be the move of this trick. And then this looks like this is a wall run and a turnaround. Get to this hackable billboard. Of course, the problem here is if I got 700 plus XP twice in a row by just having a really long section of being chased, and I'm only getting 150 XP for hacking a billboard, is it really worth the effort to hack the billboard? On top of which, it then becomes a question. I don't even know where I'm supposed to be going. Yeah, I'm supposed to be going actually underground to this point, which I can at any point just fast travel there. I also question if you're gonna run into a situation where you could hack every billboard in the city. You'd almost expect that to be an in-game scenario where all the billboards do get hacked, but clearly I can't get to that and hack that. That's not going to happen. And fairly late in the game, I have figured out that if it's glowing red, it still has a circuit chip, so if I see any of these, I should go for them. Just a recording out of nowhere.
Here, Tristan.
Nice hearing your voice again. How are things below?
Some days I miss the sun so much.
Yeah, well, I don't see much of it, to be honest. Kruger's like scouring the rooftops looking for whoever pulled the Elysium job. Finding information is hard.
Anything?
I've had some luck. Seems like one of your old friends set it up.
Noah?
Yes, but he didn't send it Chris this time. That kid he raised, Faith, is out of juvie. She did the run.
I don't understand. It all smells of the kind of thing Noah would never touch.
Maybe Faith didn't know that.
Well, she always was headstrong.
I'll try to get in touch with them. See if they'll tell us more.
Thank you, Tristan. Be safe, my love.
So do I want to run into these guys and try and take them on? Or is there possibly a way here I can then just touch the good link and ignore it? That didn't sound off a full alarm in that case. This is where Icarus was stuck. Is there any collectible or secret in this? See, they're just here, waiting. And as soon as that set off an alarm, now it's telling me run back to the safe house. And you can't fast travel. And it is turned off every single possible maneuver or side quest. Just constantly running into this as being an issue. So here's an interesting experiment. Does going downward possibly save you? Because they should have no visual on me at this point. And probably shouldn't be able to get a visual on me. So say they should just get bored and leave. And then I could fast travel. But this is constantly becoming the problem, where I should just finish the main story, hope at the end of some chapter in the path of the main stories that they will give up and stop chasing me and stop setting off alarms, and then should just at that point try to get all the collectibles if I'm going to try and get them at all. I think this also highlights fairly obviously that going down, if down was always going to be an option to the street level. You can see the cooldown is about to run out. It's not guaranteeing that they'll get bored and go away, even being inside of a building. And see, that gave me a much more reasonable 120 XP. But it's not worth it. It's totally not worth it. And I have no idea if I was to get down here, would I end up setting off some other
Runner, over here.
let's see, setting off some other alarm.
So, I need this delivered pronto. And you can't be seen. Careers depend on it, understand? Don't be...
Okay. It says go up here, which is going to be incredibly slow. Then go up here. And then wall run up to this. Then it's up the stairs. That's kind of a great example also of a situation where the game is really going to only have one path, and you're going to be fairly unlikely to ever...
We told you to stay out of sight.
Like, going the exact wrong direction. Yeah, you really can't do a covert delivery. As soon as I even tried to climb a wall, I was spotted.
So, I need this delivered pronto. And you can't be seen. Careers depend on it, understand?
Okay. So, abort mission.
Faith, Dogan here. I have some information for you free of charge. From what I can gather, the news of no...
Yeah, and the actual story we're about to do is going to be potentially freeing Noah, that he isn't actually dead.
Probably send him to the Greylands.
At least that's what
An industrious
Dogan says.
such as yourself will have no trouble uncovering his whereabouts.
there is
I might have a way.
a small possibility
And when you're done with your inquiries,
that
I'm ready to make a deal for the blueprint.
that we end up in the Greylands. Look at the wire in the top right there, just freaking out because of higher resolution or modern computer components. If it's supposed to be swinging, that's not a very natural swing by any means. Ideally, we'll do the side mission first. Yeah, I also wouldn't be surprised if we don't do the Greylands mission, though. Let's see.
We sure taught Kruger second
Any
fingers,
resistance
too,
work
didn't
that
we?
needs doing? I'm in a revolutionary mood.
Well, there's a food dome near Hell City, which needs someone to incite a low-caste rebellion.
I was imagining something a bit closer to home.
Our fight concerns all of Cascadia, Faith. We're trying to build a better world. One where Noah would still be with
This is
Don't
one of
bring
those
him into
cases
this.
where the
Then don't
camera
make
should
light
be
of our struggle.
zoomed in more,
Okay,
even if
deal.
logically
Turns out I
that
think
couldn't happen.
I need someone to place a data tap on a comm antenna in the construction zone.
Sounds like my kind of run.
It is. Here's the data tap. I'll send the antenna location to your beat. Good luck.
Low City. I'm not really sure where Low City is, if that's a very far distance or a very short distance. We have oddly several things being pointed out towards us. What really sucks about this, though, is that we are going to end up once again in the construction yard. Once we reach that, it seemed to haunt us non-stop. I still have no way to possibly get up to that. Like, oh, I might actually be stuck. There, we got out from the corner that you shouldn't have ever been allowed to get in there. Should have just had an invisible wall. Yeah, I'm falling to your death proves that you can't go low to go high. Yeah. This is the yellow part. So unless there was something like special about climbing up to this part. Nope. I couldn't imagine hanging on the edge and then jumping to the opposite wall and then hanging onto the jumping back. Yeah, this makes absolutely no sense as far as how you would actually get up there. Even if you were to start over in like this corner or this corner and try to run around the edge of the wall, that doesn't really make sense. So that's just a briefcase collectible we're gonna have to ignore for a while. I guess fast travel does not move the time in game forward, since the voice, the conversation continued as soon as I fast travel. That's probably a good move. Okay. How far are we going? Not that far. We're back to nighttime, where you can definitely feel there's some textures here that would benefit quite a bit with having a night texture on it, or just better lighting on it at all times. We found almost everything in this construction area. Not actually everything, of course, but enough that it's probably not really worth trying to grab the last few things. Particularly since it doesn't seem like you get anything for getting all the grid leaks, other than maybe a way to customize your character. Yeah, but this looks like this is going to be fairly easy to do. Finding documents would be the thing that would really be difficult. See, there's 7 more grid leaks in this whole area. Now 6. Alright, well, we know there's another one over here. So 5. We'll keep our eyes out for any more. Probably haven't been in this area but much. He wants me to go this way, then over here, then up here, then up here. Okay. And there's a grapple thing and a collectible. But I'm not getting the trigger standing here to use the grapple pull down. Alright, so we'll just walk on the ledge here. It would be slightly surprising if it turned out that there was actually a lot of this going on, secret type passages. It must be higher up to get up here. It must not be secret tight walk pass. That would be interesting, certainly, though, if that was what they were going to go for. Alright, well. Checkpoint is fairly safe to do something like that. As long as we die when we fall and don't end up rolling. Three more of those. You have this technology right now. You have the whole runner's vision beat link technology. So I have to ask a fairly obvious question is, why is there not a flashlight in this game? Like, wouldn't that make more sense? Alright, so I run this way, I jump up here, and then I think I have to climb from a swinging position after that. Let's see. So the trick here is going to be to jump, hit this, and not accidentally take that in the wrong direction. Alright. I don't think I can curve around. I think I have to pull up and jump, and then pull up. Okay. Jump back that way, I guess. Alright. It'd be so easy for there to be a document or recording. What's funny is, with the introduction of kind of the map button, the back button, when before it had been kind of more standardized to being used as a map button and a way to just jump to the map as one of almost always several tabs in the menu, the button often was used to toggle a flashlight. Of course, if you do the job right, games don't need flashlights. It's just many times they don't do a perfect job at lighting things. There's a whole nother dash here we could try. Which I guess we'll see what happens. I think we've already even tried this one. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and hold to cancel that and set this as our goal. Right. You can't just jump, you have to run and jump and tap the jump. Up here, start the mission. Rebecca wants to listen on KrugerSec communications since she needs your help. Climb to the top of the tallest antenna in rezoning and place Rebecca's tap there. And watch out for KrugerSec patrols.
I appreciate you helping us out, Faith, but I can
What's funny is this does definitely feel like this is a isolated area in a construction zone, where the rest of the construction zone areas are definitely really open. And we're doing a side mission, so this is giving them even more opportunity to write Rebecca as kind of a bad leader. Like, she certainly isn't speaking from the same perspective that Faith would be thinking about her. So she's not really doing anything that would appeal to Faith's way of thinking. Like, she
talks with Isabel Kruger. An interesting and confused young woman. She really believes in the conglomerate. Her father taught her well.
Am I supposed to run here, or am I supposed to jump over this? Oh, no. So you have yellow here meaning stop. Instead, look at this yellow wall and go there. Of course, there's way too much yellow for that to make sense. Isabel Kruger is really Faith's sister, although I bet Rebecca doesn't know that. And I don't even think Faith knows it. But even beyond that, Rebecca isn't really trying to recruit Faith as much as saying, oh, I know you have to stay with us and work for me because you have no other options. which that's no way to run a revolution. You're gonna lose popular support fairly quickly, and then somebody else will swoop in and take over Black November. And I guess it might be that they're called Black November. Wasn't that when the gunpowder plot happened in V for Vendetta? Well, it actually did happen, but it's talked about in that movie V for Vendetta. That would make a lot of sense. Real easy here to get a whole bunch of beeping sound effects.
According to Isabel, the families only want the best for us all, and that is to be achieved through personal achievement. Isabel really believes in the upward mobility of the employees. I tried to make her understand that it's all a mirage meticulously designed to keep the low caste in place and the mid caste complacent. But she refused to accept even the notion that the conglomerate might be tricking the employees. What Isabel Kruger doesn't understand is that the very same ideal of personal achievement discourages it, as one man's gain is by necessity another man's loss. With our society already rigidly stratified, the same people will always gain, and the same people will always lose.
I am agreeing with Rebecca in what she just said. I will just once again say that she probably should have started with that speech instead of being more abrasive in the first few conversations. Yep. I can say personally in the real world, when in capitalist societies that have that insane pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality, which is supposed to be a joke because it's literally impossible to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. I have never seen a single example of anyone doing that, being massively successful to the point where they would have even left the social class that they were in when they were first born. I've also, even if I would have seen a few examples of that, which I haven't, I have never seen in very many examples of upper class people falling below to a lower class, even if they are completely incompetent and inherited just all their wealth, generational wealth. They lose a lot of it, but they never leave that class. They still are considered famous. They still are given way more opportunities. The only thing I've ever seen that even slightly would fill the narrative of upward mobility and downward mobility, which nobody wants to talk about downward mobility, but you would have to have that also. The only thing that even slightly makes that narrative believable is the fact that there are major efforts by rich people and children of rich people to hide the fact that they are rich, or that they started off rich, and make it seem like it. They hire entire PR companies. They spend millions of dollars hiring PR companies to convince poor people that they were poor at one point also. You could certainly make some counter arguments that at some level, almost certainly in every system, there will be people who are richer and poorer, but that's not much of a counter argument when you have situations where you have trillionaires or billionaires, and then you have people who are not only have 0 cents to their name, but are very often hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in debt. They're negative valued. And I would say Glass City. It's not very pretty, the skyline at night. Look at this. As a side note, it's rather ugly. There's not a lot to see. Glass City, though, and the conglomerate is a terrible example of capitalism. Like, all the oligarchs and all the corporations are monopolies in their own industries. It seems like there's only 5 corporations in total that exist. They're all working completely hand in hand. There seems to be no competition at all. That's not the invisible hand of the market.
Which is matched by everyone being equally valued. The families claim we're trying to rebuild Omnistat, but that's just not true. The only way to create a sustainable society is to accept that the individual must always be less than the collective, not more as it is here, for some. There will be those unable to accept these basic truths. Invariably, they are the same people who profit the most from the current system. If necessary, they must be destroyed. What the families never tell anyone is that their way is utterly unsustainable. There just isn't enough energy or resources left for us to go on. The endless consumption we've grown accustomed to. Ultimately, it's all about the survival of our species. We must change, or perish.
I guess I'm going up this way. So it feels like Rebecca's going for more of a communist versus socialist idea. Omnistat felt like it was more of a socialist idea. Of course, you set this in a future where there's different resources issues and a different timeline. It's hard to make direct comparisons to, say, a corrupt communist country like the Soviet Union, or a mixed capitalistic society like the United States. It's mostly capitalistic but does have Medicare and a few support systems, where a pure capitalist society would have none of that. The thing that sticks out in my mind, hearing her say everyone equally contributes, that's not sustainable either. Like, people want that. People want fairness in a world that will never allow for fairness. You could never create a system for fairness. The truth is, there are just going to be disabled people, mentally, physically disabled people, people who are going to be a burden of society, and you're going to have to create a system, if it's going to work. You're going to have to create a system that says, you know what, some people are not going to be able to contribute, and we're just going to have the moral fortitude to support those people, or we're going to choose not to and then get rid of those people. But you can't just say everybody's going to equally contribute. Plenty of societies, Asian societies in particular, take the idea that the whole is more important than the individual. Western societies take the idea that the individual freedoms are more important than the whole. There's probably no simplistic answer in anything, but in that in particular, there will be times where society in the whole is more important, and there will be times when the individual's freedoms is more important. And people hate nuance. That's why the economic systems of capitalism, socialism, and communism are so hot ticket items. And those are just economic systems, and that's all this game is really talking about. At the end of the day, Black November sounds like it is going to be a totalitarian dictatorship under a communist economic system. The current conglomerate is a totalitarian dictatorship under a capitalist system. The totalitarianism and the dictatorship parts are also problems. There hasn't been Ward 1 mentioned of democracy or a republic having even representatives vote on your behalf, which the United States is actually a republic, even though they claim it's a democratically elected republic, which to a certain amount that's true. On some other ways it's not quite true, because we don't vote for the United States people don't vote for the president. They vote for people to vote for the president. They do, the United States citizens do, at a lesser level, vote for state representatives and congressmen and city mayors and things like that. But the lower ticket elections are so poorly voted upon. It's like 30-40% of the citizens are actually even involving themselves on those elections, or they're straight ticket voting, so they're just saying vote all the Republicans in and all the Democrats out, or vice versa, and they don't even know who the name of the person they're voting for is. This is weird. Because I'm not maintaining momentum. And I don't think I can maintain momentum. Clearly this game needs faster loading. I think I would come to the general idea that I would prefer there be say 5 more years before the next Mirror's Edge game came out and the game load instantaneously when you died, over just another Mirror's Edge game coming out and having only slightly better loading times. That was a fairly difficult sequence of jumps because you had to press forward. I guess we're just jumping. I think it actually would have been safer to simply just jump down and walk across the beam. Well, I can turn the runner's vision back on and it checkpointed me. This is oddly an example of them using yellow boards to mark where you're supposed to go, but not to indicate that you actually need to jump. Whereas every other time we've seen these yellow boards, it's been a pure indication of needing to jump. This whole side mission feels like an experiment in doing things differently.
Antenna foundation building. Find a way up.
And I guess I'm just gonna have to assume that there's no collectibles. I kind of feel like if I tried to jump over here, I would just die. I guess I'm safe to go ahead and give that a trial. That didn't kill me. So, of course, that may have cost me dearly. Right. Wow, that was another frame hiccup. And that would be about the exact spot you would expect the game to hiccup and drop a few frames. You can definitely tell that there's a little bit of cheating going on here as to it automatically grabbing
I'm picking up communication
onto
regarding the
things.
runner and rezoning. Seems KrugerSec have their eyes on you, Faith. Be careful.
Alright, am I supposed to just
You need
jump
to plant
here?
the tap at the very top, Faith. According to my sources, there'll be an unshielded transponder amplifier there.
It feels like I have to just jump here. But that's a very long distance for a jump. That really should not have worked. And we can't constantly have that happen where it does just feel like the game all of a sudden decides you can jump a little bit further than you normally could. I'm just gonna look around here just to see if there's any collectibles. This kind of feels like an area where we could end up fighting people. And this is an odd
I'm at the top.
thing to
Planting
climb.
the tap now.
And it works. Well done, Faith. Watch out for KrugerSec's response team when you go back down.
You can see that
See if they
there's
sent one based on the earlier
apparently
sighting. 2
of these exact same kinds of towers in a row. Alright, can I jump down this far? No. This really sucks because I'm almost certain that I would had it just been a different time,
Okay,
I would have been
here goes.
in the daylight, and this would have just looked so much better. I can just run past these people. Hey, will the disrupt break the elevator? No. That being said, the disrupt takes forever to refill.
I'm picking up a lot of data through the tap, Faith. Thank you. This will be instrumental in our struggle.
No problem.
And you come down one of these elevators again and
I
you
wonder
don't
about
even
your
see
ideals,
anything.
Faith. Something tells me you care about all this more than you let on, but where do you really stand? I'm
They
not
have to
expecting
leave
an
the
answer.
player.
You might not even have one, but the question should still be asked. Our questions teach us who we are, as your mother used to say.
Yep. They're too afraid to write Faith as having an opinion because they want the player to have whatever opinion they pick, which means they may be very much in the mushy middle when we actually get to the end of the story. Alright. Just fast travel to the main quest now. This is still freaking out, so seems like it's fairly consistently always going to freak out. And doing that got me an extra upgrade, which I guess that's worth it.
Soon we should know what value Kruger places on the story.
And is this Noah
Hey, over here.
or is this Icarus? This is a contraband quest. That's not what we want to do. I guess we're supposed to just go interrogate the sister. I don't feel like this door was open before. It'd be interesting if the city in the underground area just grew bigger and bigger. But I don't think that's really going to happen. Yeah. So to move the story forward, we go to the sister and ask her, I guess. Why not have an actual guard in front of the door?
Disappointed? I don't care either way. You'll be dead soon. My father will have this place razed to the ground.
Anything for his beautiful daughter, right? I'm sure you'll make a fine exec someday.
Whatever. What do you
Why
want?
capital
My
X
friends.
there?
I know they're not all dead.
Well, they might as well be. You'll never see them again.
Where are they?
Why didn't you ask my father? I knew he's eager to speak to you.
I'm sure he is, but I'm asking you. If the information holds up, I'll get you out of here.
I don't know where they are. And the records can only be accessed through the KrugerSec mainframe. Good luck with that.
Luck's my thing. Plastic. Can you help me break into KSEC HQ? I need access to the mainframe.
KSEC HQ? You mean the dogs? Sure.
Then let's do it.
Yeah, why is she looking at a helmet when doing that?
Faith, you there? Where are you?
I got news about Noah. He might still be alive.
What? How? When?
So new
I'm
dashes,
checking the info
new
now.
billboard hacks.
Keep me posted. And I think it's time we left Black November. Rebecca's getting scarier by the day. I heard she had a traitor shot over the conduit the other day. And I think Isabel Kruger might be next. I don't want to be part of that.
Yeah, we'll leave. Soon.
So storyline wise, we're not sticking with Black November. It really makes no sense to not just have a security guard character there. Just massive amounts. I don't know though if a lot of these aren't just the same ones again. Just ones that haven't been done. I wouldn't be surprised if that's really what's going on here. And we can fast travel to a safe house fairly close to where that story begins, and we might as well do it because nothing has changed. Wandering around in the over city would be a nightmare.
Can I keep the reflection blueprint? It's beautiful. There's so much interesting stuff in it.
Alright. So we're in some safe house I don't recognize.
Reflection is a fluid that you inject. It's full of nanites that merge with your body. It connects you to the grid permanently. I guess that's what they mean about become the grid. Once it's calibrated, it can also regulate your health and stress levels. Can't people do that on their own? And then there's something about the limbic system that I don't get yet.
So they're just in this side storyline telling you exactly what I assumed and what I think most people could have assumed, in that you would get injected with this reflection, and then that would end up having you brainwashed and controlled, and part of you being used as part of the new grid. I am almost 100% certain we have never been here. And so we are going to a new area. And this is as close as we can get. What's the problem here? Is every time we do this,
The dogs are locked
there's
tighter than WFYO. Multi-spectrum sensors, semi-sentient defense systems. The works. They even have anti-air systems in place. I mean, who would attempt an airstrike against KrugerSec?
yeah. There's a grid leak over here, a grid leak over here. I don't know if this works. Doesn't seem like it really would. We can grab this. So we know it's up there, but it seems like you'd have to... Seems like you really can't reach a lot of this easily. And I can hear Krugersec people. So going in that direction is a mistake. We'll grab things if we can get to them. We have 13 of 34 in this area. That's pretty pathetically small numbers. Which probably means we haven't been to this area before. But, or maybe we've seen it for a brief second and just run. It's also very believable that I didn't have all of the jump skills. But they definitely have bent over backwards to not really have any run speed or jump height or anything like that be associated with like none of that is associated with leveling up. It's all just, do you have the skill? Right. See, that was particularly unfair because I needed to jump up here to get to that after pulling down the wall. And it's hard to believe that there actually is a way to do that. Am I supposed to jump up to that? Every bit of idea would imply to me that the trick here would be to jump up to that. Unless I'm supposed to be able to jump up to this, do a wall run, and jump up like that, I have no idea. I guess that was the trick. This one's fairly easy. And then this one's a little bit harder because most of the wall runs I've been doing have been left angle wall runs. And it really is just, I guess, going to come down to, is it worth it to try and jump down and hit that? I think I'll just leave it, you know? Because I think I am just getting closer and closer towards the admission that I'm not going to bother to try to get everything. This is an interesting ladder in form of a graded wall, graded fence. We should have seen that idea used more often. I really would want to get the recordings. Like, I don't care about the dashes. I don't care about deliveries. But if I could get recordings that would tell me backstory, that would be nice. Some of the deliveries do seem to have some backstory to them. Also, but actually I think that was literally only the first delivery in the game that had some backstory and dialogue happening. The rest of it seemed fairly neutral. It's interesting that they're bothering to animate different types of boats. It would have probably been smarter just to show the shores and then not show any boats. Or make one very specific boat model that is not going to be used that often. Seems like I can just swing over. Everything's all very purple now. It's like the whole area is purple themed for a royal, regal feeling, which is cool and all, but KrugerSec has always been blue, so if the idea, if this is supposed to be where the conglomerate people live and the rich people live, that might as well have been blue also, or it could have been the KrugerSec was just always purple. That would make a lot of sense, really, since Kruger effectively is the emperor of this society. Still scanning grid prints, doing all of that. Did I get it? Nope. And we'll probably just have a whole bunch of opportunities to find more collectibles. That would make a lot of sense. You can even hear seagulls and birds. Well, this is an awkward dead end. It's just telling me to jump over there. Sure. If I could just magically jump over there, I would. I really feel like the game would have felt exactly the same had they not wasted the funds having voice actors do these muffled sounds.
Let me know when you've reached the waypoint I've sent, and I'll divert one for you.
What? Ride a VTOL? Okay.
I was not expecting just to fall to my death there. Once again, we ran into the sonic problem. What's a VTOL? Is it a drone? Is it a monorail? It might be more helpful if the game had mentioned VTOLs multiple times before telling me I'm gonna ride one. I have like no idea. There's a lot of trees and foliage being animated right now, so that's gonna push the graphics harder. I don't know if there's a need for that. Sure, this is pretty. This is something that you would expect in the middle of a cutscene area where there's like underground. If this was a secret safe haven and you saw this would be great, but having so many of these trees out in the open screams that something else is going to have to suffer, whether it's frame rate. You also have a whole bunch of better decorated apartments. Although, in all fairness, I have to say, This doesn't really feel like massive opulent spending or consumerism as much as you would think. Like, where's the piles of trash and packaging? Where's the shelves of books or displays? Where's the DVD Blu-rays? Where's the video game consoles? Where's the walls of trophy, walls of collectibles? Where's the arcade machines, pinball tables? Where's the opulent art even on the wall? The only art we've ever seen is this black pattern. Like, yes, these are very nice looking, probably very, very expensive apartments, but they still all move towards a minimalism that kind of doesn't make sense, particularly if this is supposed to be the rich people.
What are you implying? I'm not implying anything. I'm stating very clearly that your conclusions are based on test data from a far too low number of subjects.
So, yeah, you would assume that the rich people would break any rules or restrictions or censorship, and they would have all kinds of illegal art and things on display.
You do what you will. We need to perform more tests on human subjects. And what is this Connors algorithm, really?
We'll lay the groundwork for everything we're doing. And human test subjects? Where will you find them?
I don't think that'll be a problem to you.
I have no idea what the story is around that still, and probably won't have a clue as to what these recordings are telling me. Like, yeah, you would expect more of this, just things on display. You'd expect gold plates and alcohol and just things. You really can't embrace a government enforced minimalism and then have people feel like they're being opulent in their I don't think I can jump down there and reach where I want to go if I do that. I should check this out though anyways. You frankly see more when you're in an area like this. We also don't really see like restaurants, opera houses, movie theaters. What this game needs is for us to have seen some kind of opulent party where they were like torturing or sacrificing a lower caste person and cooking them up and eating their flesh, or some eyes wide shut style orgy that the rich were doing. Something that possibly made the rich even seem like they were particularly that bad. Like, they're oddly leaving the door open for you to actually believe that the conglomerate might be right. And if the conglomerate gets proven to be right, well then you are in a very weird position in this game. That would be... I don't think that's a journey that many people would be willing to take if all of a sudden it turns out that your sister is right and you should be working with Kruger, and then all of a sudden at the last couple races, well, last couple levels, you are playing as Kruger's enforcer. I mean, I could see a twist where Kruger actually is a good guy and all the rest of the conglomerate is wrong, but I couldn't see a twist where all the conglomerate was right, or as right as anybody is going to be right. Yeah, this is a very much a falling action sequence. Just wander around and get all the collectibles while you make it from point A to point B. So I don't know why they bothered to even put the cameras in. It definitely feels like somebody just dictated there must be cameras. And since there must be cameras, this is a... I was thinking that that was going to be a balance beam. Let's try that again. Yeah. That's what was supposed to happen. What's interesting is the windows are kind of painted on. You can kind of see the shadows of offices and even people on them, but it's at very low resolution. More than likely, that's the trade-off for having all of the fancy leaves, is that you start to see that the windows are static images, and then as you get closer, it just has been programmed to hide that from you. I really don't feel like the game is going to have us find enough collectibles or enough elements, enough recordings to be guaranteed some revelations in the story. Like, I imagine a significant number of people will pick up the documents and never read them. I'm definitely leaning towards never reading them myself. I'm almost certainly never going to read them. I'm really tired at this point, having played a lot of games with a lot of extra dialogue for no reason. Having games tell you to just go into a menu, pause the actual gameplay, and read. If I wanted to read a book, I'd read a book. I want an interactive experience. So basically 13 of 44 collectibles just to get to this point. 1 of 6 survival recordings, 1 of 3 documents, and 6 of 30 electrical parts. That is quite a lot when you really were just walking from this point to this point, or parkouring from this point to this point. Still, not really any reason why you would want to do any of these hackable billboards or any of these dashes, as long as the Kruger-Sec people are going to chase after you. And skill-wise, somebody at some point tweaked the amount of skill points you get to the point where it's super, super easy. Next 300 XP I get, which is probably the next mission, I will just get intel on the Sentinel just to be safe, I guess. And probably will put extended slide off till the very end. Yep. We are not making as much progress as I would like. It's, despite trying our best, it's a slower experience than it probably should be, which is ironic because you would practically assume that a game about running and parkouring would always be very fast, and there would be almost no way that you could have a slow experience. And yet that's not what we're getting here. Interesting, there was a Kruger uprising, there was a civil war, then Cascadia was founded, and then a triumvirate war, which almost makes it feel like there might be some more things that unlock lower, or that these two not founds might be replaced with something that's linear. we know the recordings are unlocking in a linear fashion, but not quite as linear as you'd like it to be, because you could still very easily get a recording for the scientific principle or the almost that gold or travel diary. Travel diary is probably the most important one. And if you don't get all these recordings, you're pretty much, I think, guaranteed to not really know the story by the end of this game. We now have 2 yellow echoes, of which it does not really matter what you pick because you'll just never see them. Let's see, and then if we see our player profile, storyline wise we are at now 74%, and world wise we still are at 32%, so we really have not made a lot of progress on that. There's 2 more security hubs, 1 more grid node, a massive 35 opportunity missions, 8 billboard hacks. And since the game is specifically telling you that there are specific points you would have to do to get things, if you just want to unlock things, you would not get everything. You would just reach the triangles and be done with it. But you may not even care about that, because it seems like every time you do hit one of these, it just gives you a runner kit. It also says, though, sometimes you might get a recording. So there might be something more to this. If that is the case, though, I can't help but wonder if very few players ever reach that level. It might be better to use this menu to find out if you've done a run before. But it may not matter really that much either. Yeah. It does definitely feel like this game is kind of draining me as far as my energy. I just don't know if I really could imagine doing this dashed and this dashed and this dashed and this hackable billboard and this and then this and this and then this and then do that 5 times over on 5 more segments. If this was a game that you were supposed to play and fall in love with through the story, which would have required the story to be better, then maybe in that case there might be a reason to come back and play more. But can't even imagine a twist that would make me care so much. It does seem to me like more of the edges of the city are slightly becoming visible, but I seriously doubt all of a sudden we'll have like a whole section over here that we can access. We might, but I'm not expecting the entire city to be accessible. If that was the case, then it'd be very weird. It would definitely make me wonder why they would have chosen to keep things so small up until the end of the game. Alright, let's not delay this anymore. These episodes are tending to go long. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.